new place. It's actually like a place now. I know, right? You know, as much as I'll miss the old infinitely looping background in the void, it's nice to have an actual space to call my own.
How the hell did you afford this?
I haven't had to pay taxes for the past year or so. I've saved up quite a bit. Perks of living in the void and all. Huh. Anyway, you get on with your show. I'm gonna go explore a bit. Oh, right, I almost forgot. Break a leg. So, we all know Sega has a lot of IPs. You got Sonic, Yakuza, Puyo Puyo Tetris, and the morgue right down the street. Tons of Sega franchises have laid dormant for so many years, only making a return when there's kart racing or tennis involved. To be fair, they are trying to run a business. If they feel like a game or franchise is showing promise commercially, they'll continue to support it. If not, turn left at the stop sign and go straight for 2 miles. Crazy Taxi, Space Channel 5, Jet Set Radio, all destined to die or become throwaway spin-off titles. And to me, none will hurt more than Rhythm Thief.
Holy shit, is that a vending machine?
Released for the 3DS in 2012, Rhythm Thief was a rhythm game with some point-and-click elements. Shocking, I know. There was also an iOS port of the game that released in 2013 in Japan titled Rhythm Kaito R Premium Live, which also ended up making its way to North America in 2014 as Rhythm Thief and the Periscaper. The game was developed by Zine and directed by Shun Nakamura, known for directing some of Sega's hidden gems, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, Samba de Amigo. He would even go on to produce Sonic Forces. That hidden part is no joke. On top of not being advertised that much in North America, many didn't even know of its existence until 2020 because of a resurgence on social media platform TikTok. It was just an edited version of one of the tracks and it just so happened to blow up. The game barely broke 250,000 in sales. It sold decently in North America and Japan. I don't know what the hell happened in Europe and the UK. It did underperform on launch week in Japan, landing it on the Sega the Best list, where it went for a reduced price. I mean, it did sell out in North America, but that was because they gave retailers very little stock. Which brings us to the prices that keep me up at night. So yeah, while this game went under the radar, people who have played it definitely sing their praises for it. So how about we see if it lives up to those standards? Let's get into Rhythm Thief.
This is a work of fiction. No connection is intended with actual persons or events.
Wait, this isn't real? So the casket of Napoleon Bonaparte has been stolen, and the former emperor has been brought back from the dead. Anyway, fast forward 3 years and enter Raphael. By day, he's your average young man living in Paris with his dog Fondue. But by night, he's Paris's most wanted thief, Phantom R. I'm 8 years too late to file this as a copyright infringement. Known for stealing famous works of art and returning them days later, as well as his near-perfect sense of rhythm. Regardless, he's searching for his father who disappeared 3 years ago. His whereabouts unknown, and the only lead being a coin with a strange symbol on it. After stealing a bracelet from the Louvre that has the same symbol as the coin, he runs into Marie, a girl with a violin that also has the same symbol on it. However, Raphael also runs into Napoleon, demanding that Marie give him something called the Dragon Crown, despite her not even knowing what that is. After narrowly escaping Napoleon and his lackeys, Raphael resolves to find the crown and stop Napoleon, in hopes that it may bring him closer to finding his father. Oh my god! Talk about first impressions! Within the first hour, this game wastes no time showing you what to expect. You go from an exposition dump to dancing through the streets of Paris, then breaking into the Louvre and fighting off Napoleon Bonaparte? And that's just the first chapter! Of 10! The style, the pacing, the tunes, it all sets you up for one groovy romp through the streets of Paris. So as I said before, Rhythm Thief is part rhythm game, part point-and-click adventure. On the top screen, you have a map of the city, which lets you move to different locations with the D-pad or circle pad, kinda like a world map in most platformers. Meanwhile, on the bottom screen, you can tap on things to interact with them. Tapping on points of interest can net you coins, which can be used at the shop. Also hidden in select locations are the Phantom Notes. Tapping on one will make it appear, and tapping on all 5 before they fade away will net you the scrap. There are 18 in total, and finding them all will net you a short epilogue story featuring Marie. While these are pretty tricky to find, I'd say the reward is well worth it for those who are invested in the game's story and characters. There are a couple chapter-exclusive scraps, but thankfully you can buy them in the shop if you miss any. Raphael also has a recorder that can record certain sounds and play them back to solve puzzles. Don't expect a lot of depth from this, they mostly just boil down to finding the right sound and playing it back for that NPC. And even then, the game will typically tell you where to find the sound, so what's the point? There are some more puzzles, but these are pretty basic too. They pretty much center around hit these buttons in order or hit these buttons at the right time. The one I found most interesting was the sheet music puzzle, where you have to try to rearrange scraps of sheet music to complete the song. This one was honestly kinda challenging since you had to memorize the original composition I got at first try, what the fuck. Honestly, I would say the best part of these sections are the NPCs. The writing in this game is super solid and really charming. There's a lot of fun dialogue here, even from the ones you're required to talk to. I also love how they aren't just faceless. They're all named characters with unique designs, personalities, interests, hobbies. Take Albert, the artist, who's always drawing whenever you talk to him. He even ends up opening a shop to sell his work, and he was college buddies with Vergier, the overworked inspector who's bent on capturing PhantoRove. Overall, I thought the point-and-click stuff was pretty decent. While the gameplay is nothing to write home about, it's easily saved by the writing and characters. But let's be honest, you aren't playing this game to play point-and-click adventure. So let's talk about the real meat of the game. As the name implies, Rhythm Thief is a rhythm game. Could have fooled me. Now, most of my experience with rhythm games has been Beat Saber, the Persona dancing games, and Jesus Christ, get out of my life. Never played Rhythm Heaven or many games like it, and for the longest time I've wondered, how can a game where you only press one button every so often be that engaging? PhantoRove was an idiot anyway. I brought up Rhythm Heaven because I think that's the closest thing I can compare it to. The rhythm game portion is split into several different mini-games, each with their own different controls. You'll be swiping and tapping the touchscreen to bust a move or strike a pose, pressing buttons to outrun the cops, tilting the system to dodge attacks. While they each play differently from each other, they all follow the same rule of do this action to the rhythm. Sometimes you'll have to copy a pattern given to you, call and response style. Other times you'll just have to hit the beat in time. These are all pretty fun, save for a few, and they all telegraph the actions well, for the most part. Most minigames have this little circle in the corner of the screen, which gives you the timing to hit each beat. Problem is, it sometimes doesn't line up with the visuals. Like, look at this, that should have worked, I should have hit that. But instead the timing is right in the middle of him. Regardless, I still had fun with the minigames. There's tons of unique ideas on top of having loads of variety. There are, in total, over 40 rhythm games here, and that's not even counting the optional games and the marathon mode versions. While there are quite a few repeat minigames, I feel they amp up the challenge just enough to where there's enough of a difference between the two similar games, outside of just visuals, of course. There's even references to other Sega rhythm games. Of course, Samba Carnival is a blatant reference to Samba de Amigo. There's also the faux PhantoRove minigames, which reference Space Channel 5, that's awesome! Oddly enough, the second Samba Carnival minigame, Feel the Magic, uses a remixed version of a song from Feel the Magic, XYXX. Can I show this? Now up on the top left is your health bar. Hitting notes will cause your health to go up, but hit 0 and it's game over. It also displays your current rank, ranging from A to E, with A being the best and E being go play a different game. I personally am not a fan of how it ties the rank to your health. There's this other mechanic where the higher your combo is, the less health you get back. And on top of that, you lose a ton of health if you miss as much as 2 notes. To aid with this, you can use the tokens earned in the point-and-click sections to purchase items from the shop. These pretty much act as your modifiers. There's one that gives you a second chance after your health hits 0, one that increases the amount of health you gain, one that decreases the amount of health you lose, and one touch mode, miss a single beat and you're done. Honestly, these are pretty helpful, especially for the trickier minigames. They're so out of the way, they might as well not be here. Why is the button gray? That tells me not to tap on it. I don't think they even tell you about these anywhere in the game. And rightfully so. Anyone who uses these things can't handle a challenge and is a complete bitch. Wait, why'd you cut back to me? You've also got marathon mode. These are endless versions of 4 of the minigames, namely dancing, soccer, samba, and battle. Your goal is to try to rack up as high of a score as possible, but miss 3 times and you're done. The interesting part is they use a medley of about 6 to 8 songs from the game as music, but that's about it. I honestly can't really see myself playing any of these 4 for more than 2 to 3 minutes. I love the dance minigame, and Samba's a neat little nod to Samba de Amigo, but soccer and duel I always found kind of annoying. If the selection was a bit better, I mean, I still wouldn't be all over it, but I'd enjoyed it a bit more. It's there as a neat little side mode, but nothing I focused on too much. There's also multiplayer, but don't ask me how it works, because I couldn't tell you. And apparently nobody else can either. I tried putting up flyers to try and find somebody to test it out with, but I don't think that's doing much outside of being a waste of paper and time moving on. Now, what's a rhythm game without music? Incomprehensible. Tomoya Otani, Naofumi Hataya, and Takahito Iguchi. Those names might sound familiar because these three have worked on the soundtracks for countless Sega titles, with this seemingly being the first time the three of them have collaborated on a project before going to work on the music of Sonic Forces together. To me, one of the best parts of rhythm games is how many different people you have working on the music, each composer with their own style, bringing something new to the table with each track really being able to bring out their approaches to writing music. And Rhythm Thief is no different. Oh, I should also add that it's really good. I would be a little worried if it wasn't. You got some big band tracks, lots of jazz, a few orchestral tunes, hip-hop beats, more synonyms. Take a listen. Not to mention, these are accompanied by some amazing visuals. I adore the character designs. PhantoRove is incredibly dripped out, and fun fact, his color palette's actually based on the French flag. Raphael's design hinting towards PhantoRove is really neat as well. His buttoned-up blue cardigan covering up his white button-down could be interpreted as him having something to hide, alluding to his double life as PhantoRove. The painted backgrounds and the point-and-click sections are gorgeous, like something taken right out of a graphic novel. And let's not forget those animated cutscenes. Point Pictures handled these, and they did a fantastic job. Every setting is beautiful, every action sequence is well blocked out. Not to mention the way 3D CGI is incorporated here. It blends in really well, especially for the studio's first time doing something like this. I find the models they use during the rhythm games to be super charming too. From the characters' unchanging expressions to the sheer chunkiness of the polygons, it screams early 3DS, and I'm all for it. The bloom is turned up just right, and the cell shading just hits the spot. And the animation, I don't care that these dance sequences are probably mocapped, they fuck hard. And that's not even talking about the screen that plays before the game even starts. This is so stylish. This entire game is so stylish. What else do I need to say? Okay, I need to calm down. Now being the first game we've talked about with full voice acting, if you don't count the first two, I have a lot to say about this. The voice performances are something many like to bring up about this game, mostly because they aren't very good. However, I think they're okay. A lot of deliveries lack that punch they really need or are just completely flat altogether. But when the deliveries are good, they're good, especially when paired with the writing. Like I said before, the writing is great. It knows when to be serious and when to have fun, and when it has fun, it has a field day. So many lines got a good chuckle out of me. I adored watching these characters. And the serious moments, getting to actually know these characters, I couldn't help but get invested. I think I can say the same about the game as a whole. There may be some minor things I take issue with, but once I got into it, I really got into it. It's fun, it's stylish, it's got a great story. What more could you ask for? It's a shame this game didn't do too well, as a sequel for the 3DS or Wii U was considered at one point. But alas, we'll never know what could have been. If you want to try it out, I would not recommend getting a physical copy, because, like I said, the price listings make me wet the bed. So then get it on the eShop. It's only $20, and you get the full game and the best way to play it. I fucking hate calendars. Then just play Paris Caper! While it's fairly different from the 3DS game, having new remixes, costumes, microtransactions, having to be online 24/7, costing $10 on the App Store at launch, okay, it's probably not the best way to play it, but oh. Unfortunately, the escapades of PhantoRove may be lost to time. There's no hints of it coming back, and almost no way to play the game without piracy. Maybe one day we'll see Raphael, Marie, and Fondue again, but for now, all we can do is hope. The show must go on, as they say. Well, that got unnecessarily depressing. Regardless, I've been PhantoRove, signing off. Peace. Are we good? Yeah? Okay, cool. It's good to be back.